Imagine waking up in a town with no roads to the outside world, no quick drive to the next city, or no easy way to catch a flight. Your supplies arrive by boat once every few months, or by helicopter when the weather allows. For most of us, isolation means bad Wi-Fi or a long commute. But for some, isolation is a way of life. Across the planet, from frozen Arctic outposts to lonely islands in the middle of vast oceans, small communities survive where most of us couldn't last a week. Today on MapMind, we explore the most isolated places on Earth where people actually live. If you enjoy our content, please don't forget to subscribe and join MindMap Nation so you never miss videos like these. Number 1. Tristan da Cunha, the edge of the world. Let's start with Tristan da Cunha, the most remote inhabited island on the planet. It sits in the South Atlantic Ocean, more than 2,400 kilometers from South Africa and nearly 3,400 kilometers from South America. Population, about 250 people. That's it. There's no airport. The only way to reach the island is by a week-long boat journey that leaves a few times a year from Cape Town. Miss the boat, and you might be stuck waiting months for the next one. Daily life is built around fishing, farming, and community. There's one school, one hospital, one store, and even one pub. Imagine if your supermarket only restocked once or twice a year. If a shipment doesn't arrive, you're simply out of coffee, sugar, or medicine until the next one comes. But despite the hardships, Tristan da Cunha is fiercely proud of its community. It has its own dialect of English, its own traditions, and a resilience shaped by centuries of isolation. And while this is the most remote island community, it's not the most extreme settlement. For that, we head north. Way north. Number 2, Nunavut, the northernmost settlement. Welcome to Alert, in Canada's Nunavut territory. It is the northernmost permanently inhabited place on Earth, just 817 kilometers from the North Pole. Population, about 60, mostly scientists and military personnel. Temperatures here regularly drop below minus 40 degrees Celsius. In the winter, the sun doesn't rise for months. In the summer, it doesn't set. There are no families here, no children. It's a working outpost, a place where people rotate in and out to maintain research and monitor military communications. But even with these systems in place, imagine life in Alert. You can't step outside without layers of protective gear. Fresh food has to be flown in, and flights depend on the weather. And if you crave pizza delivery, forget about it. Living in Alert is a reminder of how close humanity has pushed to the edge of habitability. Yet, while it's one of the coldest, it's not the only extreme settlement. Because sometimes isolation isn't about cold, it's about distance. Number 3, Easter Island, a lonely Pacific outpost. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean lies Easter Island, or also known for its native name as Rapa Nui. It is 3,500 kilometers from mainland Chile, making it one of the most isolated inhabited islands in the world. Total population is about 8,000 people. You probably know it for its moai statues, giant stone heads carved centuries ago. But the real story is about survival. For centuries, the Rapa Nui people were cut off from the rest of the world. Ships might arrive once every few decades. When resources ran short, communities clashed, traditions shifted, and the population nearly collapsed. Today, planes connect Easter Island to Chile and Tahiti, but flights are rare and expensive. Everything from fuel to electronics to medicine has to be imported, often at high cost. Imagine buying groceries where a basic bag of rice costs double what it does on the mainland, or living where medical emergencies require an airlift thousands of kilometers away. Easter Island is isolated, but at least it has thousands of people. Some places survive with fewer than 100. Number 4 on our list we have Pitcairn Island, the descendants of mutineers. Pitcairn Island in the South Pacific is one of the smallest, most isolated communities in the world. Population, about 50. The island's story begins in 1789 with the famous mutiny on the HMS Bounty. The mutineers fled with Tahitian companions and settled on Pitcairn, far from the reach of the British Navy. Today, nearly all of Pitcairn's residents are descendants of those mutineers. Their surnames trace directly back to that single group of settlers. There's no airport, no regular port, and the island is accessible only by ship, and supply vessels arrive just a few times a year. Daily life, it's farming, fishing, and community work. Everyone knows everyone. While the scenery is breathtaking, isolation comes at a cost. If you need a dentist, too bad, there isn't one. If you need specialized medicine, it can take months to arrive. Pitcairn is one of the hardest places to reach on Earth. But in the Arctic, there are towns that may not be as remote in distance, but are just as cut off in daily life. Number 5. Iqaluit, an Arctic capital without roads. Iqaluit is the capital of Nunavut in northern Canada, with about 7,500 people. It sounds like a decent-sized town until you realize there are no roads connecting it to the rest of Canada. The only way in or out is by plane or boat, and boats can only reach the city during the short summer when the sea ice melts. This means everything, food, fuel, construction supplies, has to be flown in or shipped at enormous cost. As a result, prices are shocking. A jar of peanut butter might cost $10. A case of bottled water can cost $50. And if a shipment is delayed by weather, stores can run out of basics like milk, eggs, or bread. Iqaluit has internet and modern infrastructure, but the isolation shapes daily life in a way most people in southern cities can't imagine. And if Iqaluit feels isolated, Greenland takes it to another level. Next, on number 6, we have Ittoqqortoormiit. On Greenland's eastern coast, has a population of about 350 people. It is one of the most remote towns in the Arctic. The nearest settlement is hundreds of kilometers away. The nearest airport is in Iceland, reached only by helicopter or boat when the sea isn't frozen. For much of the year, the town is locked in by ice. Hunting and fishing are the main sources of food, supplemented by supplies that arrive irregularly. Imagine living in a place where the grocery store might have only canned goods, dried fish, and frozen meat for months at a time, where getting to a hospital means hours of travel in a helicopter, if the weather even allows it. Yet for the people of Ittoqqortoormiit, this is normal. Their culture and traditions have adapted to a life where isolation isn't an obstacle, it's part of identity. But extreme isolation isn't limited to the Arctic or the middle of oceans. In fact, one of the most cut-off communities in the world sits inside the United States. Number 7. Supai Village, America's hidden community. Deep inside the Grand Canyon lies Supai, home to the Havasupai tribe. Population, about 500 people. Supai is the most isolated town in the continental United States. There are no roads that reach it. The only way in is a 13-kilometer hike, a mule ride, or a helicopter. Mail is still delivered by mule, making it the only place in America where that's true. Supai has a school, a store, and even a small cafe. But everything from groceries to building materials has to be carried down the canyon by mule or flown in by chopper. Imagine moving house in Supai. Every single piece of furniture would need to be loaded onto muleback or flown at great cost. Tourists visit to see the spectacular turquoise waterfalls. But for the people who live there, isolation is everyday reality. So, what are the most isolated places where people actually live? From Tristan da Cunha, an island a week's sail from anywhere, to Alert, a frozen outpost near the North Pole, to Easter Island and Pitcairn, lonely dots in the Pacific, to Arctic capitals like Iqaluit and tiny towns like Ittoqqortoormiit, and finally, to Supai Village, hidden deep inside America's Grand Canyon. These places remind us that human resilience has no limits. Even in the most cut-off corners of the Earth, people find ways to build communities, hold on to culture, and call it home. Which of these places shocked you the most? Could you imagine living in a town where supplies arrive once a year, or where the sun never rises for months? In the end, isolation shows us just how connected most of us really are, and how extraordinary it is that people survive and thrive in places where the rest of the world seems impossibly far away. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and join MindMap Nation for more videos like this.